Good morning. Have you ever heard the phrase sharpening the saw? I'm not sure if Stephen Covey, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, if he coined that phrase or stole that phrase, but in any event, that's the first time I read it there. Sharpening the saw, Covey tells the story of coming across these two guys that are cutting a tree down. And they're working like dogs, and they're cutting and cutting and cutting, and they're showing very little for their efforts. And the guy says, well, look, why don't you stop and sharpen the saw? And one of them says, well, we're actually too busy cutting this tree down to stop. And his point is well taken. We get very busy in our lives, and wouldn't it be great to stop and sharpen the saw? And this is something that's always on my mind. Like, I've got a whole bunch of things, those little those to-do items that kind of roll from one to another, and they're not, Covey would call them not urgent, not terribly important in that quadrant of 4 things that you're supposed to use to do triage on your tasks. But they sit there and they sit there and they sit there. And I thought, what would I do if I stopped and sharpened the saw? And I decided I'm going to make a list, and I'm going to see if this is something that's really worth it. Because I like the idea. I like the learning. I like to stop and do things like, there's videos on LinkedIn that teach you how to use LinkedIn. I'm sure you know that. Have you ever watched one? Probably not. Why? Because you're doing. I want to know more about the software that I use. Well, the instruction manuals, the instruction videos are right there. Final Cut Pro, which is what I will use to make this video. I don't know everything that Final Cut Pro does. My CRM, I don't know what everything there does. The new operating system for Apple, High Sierra, no, I don't know. Why? Because we don't stop and sharpen the saw. So I encourage you to make a list. I made mine, and I said, all right, well, there's 3 books that people have given me recently. And if you gave me one of these books, I apologize, I've not read it yet. One of them is Getting Things Done by David Allen. Another one is On Writing. My daughter Madeline gave me that, by Stephen King. The third one is Talk Like Ted. My other daughter Emma gave me that one, by Carmine Gallo. I would clean my desk. In fact, I would clean my entire office. I mean, what's behind me might look really clean. It's really not. It's an illusion. I might even go out and clean my car. There's personal things that I could add to this as well. I would make a list of my profit pillars. Profit pillars is a subject that comes from a previous video. You can go on to piworld.com and back up, and you can read about this concept. But it's the idea of what vertical markets, what profit centers am I going after, and do I have too many of them? I would go on and make a list. I go onto the Apple website and see if there's any workshops at the local retail, so I could go see daughter number 3, and find out if there's anything there that would help me to do what I do better. They're free. Let's see, I talked about that one. I'd go through my list, my to-do list, and I'd throw out the non-essentials. In fact, I'd go onto my computer and I'd look at all the files, and I'd delete those files that are redundant or that are old, and then if it's important, I'd put them up on the cloud. I bet you've got a lot of stuff which is exposed and you think it's safe. And you ever had a computer crash and you think, oh, I didn't back up, and that's the last time that happens? Well, that's a good thing to do. On the personal side, I would probably go and I'd do some research on recipes, and I would come up with some good healthy alternatives. I always eat better when I have that. Plus, I love to cook, but that takes a little bit of time as well. The other thing that this does, this hard stop, is that it slows us down. I don't know about you, but when I get back from vacation, I go on vacation, I'm like this. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do day 1? What are we going to do day 2? And then day 3, I tend to wake up and go, the train is pulled into the station. Having a hard stop like this gets you a step in that direction so that you're able to just calm yourself, just slow down just a little tiny bit, and then you're able to do your job better. So make a list, see what you can do, and then maybe there's a day ahead where you can block the entire day, or maybe it's just a Friday afternoon, or maybe it's a Monday morning or something like that. But sharpening the saw gives you the edge, pun intended, to help do your job better. But like anything else, you got to be prepared for it. So make your list. I'm going to go get to mine. Have a good selling week.